Hey everyone, Brian here with DIY Outdoor Light. Today, Ripple and I are going to do a review on the Oupes Mega 2. We'll also talk about the Mega 3 and the Mega 5 in this video. We are actually 2,000 miles from home. I had no plans on doing this video. We're shooting this with the cell phone. But this holiday season, I've had so many people reach out and ask about my opinion of the new Mega series, and I just happen to have one with me powering my cross-country trip with the Bushwhacker, so I figured, why not turn the cell phone on and give a quick review of this power station. So let's get to it. So folks, I've talked about Oupes power stations on the channel quite a bit. Some other content creators call them Oupes or Oupes or all these different names. I go with Oupes. The reason why I have featured these power stations so much is this brand has always seemed to manage to stack together some real high quality base level components and sell their power stations for 30–40% less than the competition. Some of the power stations by Oupes I've reviewed on the channel, you could actually buy 2 of them for the price of 1 of the name brand units on the market. Still get the capacity and the high quality inverter. Now with that being said, with those videos, I spend a lot of time talking about how Oupes has pared back some of the bells and whistles. They usually don't have a lot of the features found on those higher quality power stations. The Mega 2, 3, and 5 actually have more features than some of the most expensive power stations on the market. And I got this 2,045 watt hour power station, the 2 kilowatt version in the Mega 2, for under $1,300. So that is less money than the competition. And I want to talk about why this power station actually has more features than some of the more expensive ones and even some of my favorite units that I own. So I'm really excited about this. So to give you a quick overview of this power station, the Mega 2 has 2,045 watt hours of lithium iron phosphate battery storage. It has an inverter that allows true 20 amp capability out of its outlets. They even give you the RV style 30 amp outlet. Now on the Mega 3 and the Mega 5, that's going to be true 30 amp capability. On the Mega 2, it's 2,500 watts. So still considerably more than you would get out of a standard outlet receptacle in your house. So this is a really good feature. This is definitely something I've been using with my RV, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. With the Mega series, they're expandable. So they allow you to add up to 4 Oupes lithium iron phosphate batteries to them. This is a feature that's usually only offered on the most expensive power stations. So the Mega 2 can become a 4, 6, an 8, or even a 10 kilowatt hour power station by using the portal on the side to connect 4 additional 2 kilowatt hour Oupes batteries. Now they sell those on the website. They're dirt cheap compared to the competition. The 3 and the 5 have the same capability. The 3, you can add 4 3 kilowatt Oupes batteries. And for the 5, if you want the 5 kilowatt hour power station plus 4 additional 5 kilowatt batteries, that's 25,000 watt hours of storage. So that's enough to run most people's houses in a backup. That's an unbelievable amount of storage and more than what I would look for in a power station. For those capacities, I would switch to a server rack, but it's unbelievable that they are not paring down anything with the Oupes Power Station Mega Series. Now, in addition to that, Oupes is also offering you the Bluetooth Wi-Fi app. This is something new to the Oupes power stations and something that we've loved about a lot of the other brands. It's not just a gimmick. It allows you to make updates, control things. You can turn the charge down and up on this. It's unbelievable. Now, if these features weren't enough, of course you have multiple 100-watt power delivery ports. This power station with the Mega series now has the built-in inverter charger. So you're going to be able to get 1,600 watts into this power station without any additional blocks. You just plug the cord into the side of the power station. That's new to Oupes. With some of their older systems, you actually needed 2 AC blocks to try to fast charge it, and it still wasn't as fast as this power station charges. Now, with that charger turned up all the way, driving 1600 watts into the Mega 2, you're basically going to max out a standard 15 to 20 amp receptacle. If you go any higher than that, you're going to blow the breaker in your house. So that's about as fast as a power station can charge without going to 240 volts or some of the more fancy features that you might see in the future. This system allows 2100 watts of solar with a 12 to 150 volt solar input. So this MPPT is capable of taking full-size residential panels wired in series. Again, this is top-of-the-line features, and it's unbelievable to me that you're seeing that in a discount power station. You can dual charge. So if you plug it into AC and solar, you're going to reach new levels of charging, some that can even charge this entire power station in well under an hour. I do think that those applications are going to be pretty rare for most of us. So look at, 1.3 hours for a standard AC charge time. You can do better than that if you deck this out with solar. And if you do those at the same time, look at charging this from 0 to 100 in like 45 minutes or less. It is absolutely blazing fast charging speeds on this. So folks, out of all of these features that I'm trying to go through as quickly as possible, there's one that stands out to me that is my absolute favorite. Oupes has included a regulated 12-volt Anderson port, good for 30 amps. This is one of my favorite features. You used to only be able to find them on the old Gold Zero Yeti units. When EcoFlow Delta offers it, it's only on the Delta Pro, a $3,000 power station. Blue Eddy offers a 25 amp outlet and an aviation port. I'm not thrilled with it, but it's still a great feature. So we're going to start off by talking about that in a little greater detail, and then I'll break down some of the other numbers that I got off this. I've been using this power station to power my cross-country road trip, and I'm very familiar now with how this system works, and I'm thrilled with it. But starting with that regulated 12-volt output. Now, 12 volts is always going to be DC, more efficient than the AC side. There's no standby consumption. Power stations draw on their battery just by leaving the inverters on. And if you're doing something like powering a camper through AC, that camper has a converter that's going to convert it back to DC. This has always led to abysmal efficiency ratings. If you just plug your camper into one of these ports, it's going to work, but it goes from DC to AC back to DC. It throws away 20% each time, and then you have standby consumption. That's why it's always good to use these AC ports on an RV in the short term. You do it for cooking breakfast. You don't leave it plugged in all day. With this DC plug, I can link a video in my description to where I've done this with other power stations. I can actually replace the battery on my camper and power the DC side through this 30 amp plug. This means I don't need a battery on the camper, or I can use this in addition to the battery that exists on the camper. But the efficiency rating is through the roof. Your standard 12-volt plugs, they're good for 8 to 10 amps. So if you have a refrigerator running, a gas furnace, a fan, you're going to overload that very quickly. By giving you this 30 amp plug with a simple Anderson plug, I can run every 12-volt appliance on my camper at the same time without overloading this. I can leave this in my truck where it's protected, run the Anderson cord to power the camper, and even plug solar into this while it's running my camper. I could do a whole video on this. This feature is absolutely incredible, and if you're in the know, you know about this. But I know a lot of my beginners don't go anywhere near these 30 amp DC plugs, and I'm telling you, they are the cat's pajamas. So folks, shooting this video from my cell phone on the road, I'm actually wearing the cat's pajamas while I do this. I wanted to give you that overview to talk about how much value they're packing into this, the expandability, the lithium iron phosphate, the dynamite inverter, that 30 amp plug. But as far as some of the more advanced testing that I would offer you in these power station reviews, I'm just going to give you my results. I have tested the AC efficiency to be the high 80%, slightly better than average when I'm testing a power station. The DC side tested exactly the same, high 80%. That's a big step up from previous Oupes power stations where their 12-volt plugs sometimes got down in the 70% for efficiency. So you're getting the majority of the energy that you've harvested from the sun and stored in this when you use it. Remember, like I said, the DC side is always going to be more efficient when we're living off grid. That 30 amp DC plug actually allows me to run a lead to a fuse block in a cabin and run the lights and the water pump and a refrigerator. It's a really cool feature. The expandability is really nice. If you go with the Mega 3 or the Mega 5, you could run a whole off-grid cabin off that. I'm not sure it would be the most cost-effective way to do it, but expandability on power stations is future-proofing. If you need more down the road, you don't have to buy a whole new power station. You can just continue to expand it with their discount batteries. Now, besides the efficiency levels, I tested the app out. I use it. I love it. It's good. It's not quite as good as like the Goal Zero or EcoFlow app, which is just completely professional. But I'm sure there's going to be updates on that. I've had no bugs. It's worked out really great. What I love about this system, and it is heavy, lithium iron phosphate is heavy, is for this price, $1,300 or less, to be able to get over 2,000 watt hours with an inverter of this efficiency and that 30 amp plug, this is really a cheaper option than buying lithium iron phosphate batteries for your camper. I mean, if you can set your camper up to run on this 30 amp DC regulated plug, you don't need to buy a new charge controller. You can plug your solar panels in directly. You don't have to buy an inverter. It has a lightning fast built-in AC charger for when you do have shore power. So it's a pretty hard system to beat. I'm a huge fan. I definitely recommend it. Please check out the links in my description because I have a couple coupons, but I will continue to update those links with the best price that I'm finding, whether it's factory direct with the bundling that comes with solar, or some of the options on Amazon if you're into giving Jeff Bezos your money. So enough out of me. You'll probably see some more integration videos. Again, I'm 2,000 miles from home. We have a few more weeks on the road, and this is what I'm using to power my setup. The one downside that comes to mind, it's loud. It is one of the louder power stations that I've used. I should have included that. So it hasn't bothered me because it's really when you're doing full speed AC charging, it's not that loud when you're using it. But if you plug this into the fast charger, it does sound like a Black Hawk helicopter. So do know that if you are looking to get this. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time. First thing I've seen besides flat open cornfields for 600 miles.